All right, we got the body off the frame. We showed you that. Was doing some looking here. I think we might have found a major problem, which would be a major setback. Like I said, I have a couple holes that are rotted. I ordered a kit for that. They're basically a big washer that you cut out and weld in there. Not a big deal. Frame's very solid, which is very surprising. But once I pulled this frame out from under here, I was standing back and looking, and I don't know if you can see that, but the frame horn looks like it's over. And the same with that. So I've done some preliminary measurements off the parallel part of the frame. And like I said, these are just eyeballed. They're not 100% exact, and I'm going to confirm this, but I want to show you basically what I'm looking at. If you look, that 2x4 is almost perfectly parallel with the frame. And here, the same thing. So by looking at that, first of all, look at the rotor. Got about an inch and a quarter off of the rotor. Now it's not, like I said, it's not 100% perfect. These are just looking at it. Here I'm about 1/2 to 3/4. So here, measuring the same area to the center of that hole is 10 1/8. Over here to the center of the hole, now the hole's a little more oblong, but not horrible, it's 8 1/4. So something is definitely off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to zip tie or bungee or something to this to get a perfect parallel thing. I made sure both these 2x were straight. I'm going to take them off, double check, make sure they're perfectly straight. And like I said, I could be 1/4 inch off, 1/2 inch off, but that's 2 inches. So it looks like the frame is tweaked that way. Now, when I bought the car, I could tell the car had been on a frame machine because of the where they bolted to the ground, I could see the holes were oblonged a little bit from pulling. Didn't think much of it. You know, I noticed when I was cleaning the frame here, it had like a little dimple. And then over here, I noticed this was kind of concaved a little bit. Didn't think anything of it because it looks right. You know, when you're looking at it, it looks fine. Well, I compared it to the frame over there, which is to the hardtop, which is the same frame except for it's not boxed. So convertible frame is different. Compared it to that and those numbers, and it doesn't jive. So let me do some more exact measurements here. This could be a major setback. You know, I don't know if I can straighten it or get another frame. I don't know. You know, I wasn't going to redo all these suspension parts because they're actually in really good condition because I think the car had been off the road a while. If I get another frame, I got to pull everything apart. If I pull everything apart, I'm going to have to replace all those bushings because stuff doesn't come apart without destroying it. And like I said, I have this whole front half of the frame. It's already prepped, it's already painted, which it totally is my fault. I should have, before I even did this, I should have pulled the body off the frame because I knew I had issues with body mounts. So, you know, full disclosure, I should have just checked all this from day one. I should have pulled the body out from under the frame. I was trying to save a little bit of work, a little bit of time, a little bit of money, and ultimately it's going to end up costing a lot more. I lost time and a very little bit of money in paint here. Not that big a deal, but you know, I lost, you know, a day's time and, you know, $100 in paint, but that's minimal compared to if I have to get another frame. And the problem is finding another frame. Went on Facebook. I did find one in White Plains, New York, which is up by the Tappan Zee Bridge for $1,500, but the back half of it's rusted through, so it would have to be repaired. And I'm like, you know, I don't want to spend $1,500 and still have to do all the same repairs. So like I said, the back half of this frame, other than those 2 holes, is pretty much perfect. So, like I said, it's turning into a dilemma. I'm going to try not to get discouraged here. It's very discouraging. I could use that hardtop frame. It's the exact same frame, but it's not boxed. I could box it. They actually make a kit to box it. It's not like the factory though. And if you know what you're looking at, first of all, I'm not that good of a welder. I would not weld something that was majorly structural. I'd have to hire somebody to do it. So the kit's $500, then I'm sure it's going to cost me another $500 to have somebody weld it in. You're looking at that. I'd rather get the right frame for the car. So, all right, enough rambling. Let me get some exact measurements here, get this mocked up perfectly so we know everything's straight, get some exact dimensions, and we'll pick you up. Wah, wah. All right, so this is 1 month later. Took me a month to engineer this high-tech thing. No, it took 20 minutes. But it is crude, but it gives me a really good idea on what's parallel and straight. So let me run it by you again. First of all, I made sure these 2x4s were true. Within a little bit. I mean, you're not going to get 100. I don't have a frame machine. This isn't to the millimeter. I could be a ½ inch off, but either way. So what we did was we measured this distance from this hole to the 2x4, which was 5 1/8 on both sides. The hole's stamped in the same exact place. We took this dimension here, came across between the 2 holes, made a mark, so we knew the 2x4s were sticking out the same exact amount within a tiny bit. The whole idea was I wanted it to stick out to where the frame horn was. So the measurement from here to this hole, to the edge, is 49 1/4 here. Over here, it's 49 1/4. So we know we're square to the frame, and I wouldn't call that plumb, but it's squared, basically. If you look there, we have 3/4 inch gap to the frame horn, and we're less than 1/8 there. So right here on the rotor, have approximately 3/8 of an inch parallel with the frame, and over here we have 1 inch. So the next dimension we took was the straightness of the frame horns, which we knew when we bought this. We knew it had been tweaked. The major giveaway should have been when I pulled the motor and I saw this part was wrinkled. Saw it and I didn't think much of it. I'm like, well, but I couldn't really find any major structural stuff there. Like I said, I knew the frame horns had been straightened because I'd see where they had been pulled. Well, here, parallel with this frame, we have 8 3/4, and here we have 7 3/4. So, like I said, if you look, frame rails on both sides are pushed over to the driver's side. Can we straighten it? I have no idea. Is it worth it? I have no idea. At this point, I don't know. I have to hire somebody to try to do something either way. I don't know if it's going to make a difference because it's almost like the whole frame, really from this point back, it's perfect. And really up to here, it seems like it's perfect. These are within 1/4 of an inch. So, all these holes you can use as guides because that's how they did it in the frame books. They were used as guides and for measurements. That's how they did it. Like I said, this is very crude, but it gives you a really good general idea. If it was 1/4 or ½ inch off, it'd be like, no big deal. But like I said, when you can see it and then you start measuring and it's, so I'm not sure what to do here. It's almost, I don't know. It's like this, the suspension part kind of has to go over that way, but yet the frame horn has to go over this way. So it's really a catch-22. We're going to do a couple other things here, but obviously the frame is bent. No ifs, ands, buts about it. The other thing, if I straighten it, will it ever line up properly? You know, will it go straight down the road, which is the critical thing. I could do kind of a half alignment on it to have an idea. It doesn't look horrible, the way the steering is, and you know, you can adjust the steering, you can adjust the shims, so that you don't really know until you get it all together. And like I said, I don't want to get all this back together, get the bodywork done, get the fenders hung back on, and realize that my bumper is pushed over too far to the passenger or driver's side, and it won't line up on the driver's side or the passenger side because of how it's tweaked. So, all right, like I said, it's kind of, for this project, it's kind of devastating, but we got to work through it. We got to figure it out. We got to do something. Not sure what, but we got to do something. And we'll get back to you when we figure out exactly what we're going to do.